Being a self-taught artist, that is, I did not go to art school. I think it's given me more of an appreciation of art in the moment. For instance, when I go to a museum, it's like I'm looking at everything as if it were just created that day or recently, and I judge it as if it were. I appreciate the history, but when I'm actually looking at the artwork itself, I look at it strictly as it is, period, just without any story. Coming of age in the 60s was a pretty unique experience, I think. It felt like the old world was dying away and a new one was being created. I was working on ranches and orchards and really was very connected to nature, and that was what was comfortable to me. And I would go to the library and read architectural digests, and I would just pore over them and fantasize and think about being an architect, what my life would be like. And I quickly realized that the fine art was where I should focus. And while I loved architecture, I didn't think it was for me. A series that I've been working on for quite a while is called Skin Deep. And it's my very architectural exposed framework pieces. So when I say skin deep, I'm actually illustrating that things are not skin deep, because my paintings are very three-dimensional and all the framework is exposed. An artist studio is probably the most important aspect of being an artist. It's where we spend all our time. It, in fact, becomes our muse. It inspires us just by being in that space that we create in every day. The way I work in the studio is I show up every day. That's my most important aspect of my work. I walk in the door, and generally the first thing I look at is what I was working on the day before. And as a matter of fact, even when I think work is done, if it sits in my studio long enough, quite often I'll rework it. I've always used color in my work, usually warm colors. And I have to say, as time has gone on, I've moved more and more towards black and white. And I think that's as a result of my being more interested in sculpture rather than painting. So while I'm still using paint, I think of myself more as a maker of things than actually a painter. I don't use brushes at all. No matter what medium I'm using, I've always poured it and then troweled it, sometimes sanded, scraped, gouged. So it becomes a layering technique just to get the paint down. I enjoy observing people look at my work, especially when someone lingers. That's how I measure success in my work. If I'm really connecting with someone, it makes them just stand there, whether they're taking in the beauty, trying to figure out what I'm saying, or whatever. The longer they stand there, the better. And that gives me a lot of pleasure. I've been allowed to do what I love doing, and that is really, really a huge blessing. And I realize how lucky I am that I'm able to do that. I mean, every day is totally mine. It's there for me to create. And I'm also appreciative that I'm making things that I will leave behind. So I'm affecting the world more than just in my current life.